Hey, everybody. In this session, we'll share our recipe for how to build a Trailblazer community group from scratch to help Trailblazers learn, grow, and connect. My name is Jade. I'm the lead solution engineer at Salesforce, and I'm a military trailblazer. For the visually impaired, I'm a white male, and my pronouns are he, him. Now, I used to live on aircraft carriers, so what the heck am I doing here today? Well, after serving in the military for 20 years, I decided I was ready for my next professional adventure. The problem was I spent the previous 4 years preparing for a career in project management before suddenly and sadly realizing that my heart just wasn't in it. Thankfully, that's when I discovered Salesforce. My mentor introduced me to Trailhead, and I fell in love with the Salesforce platform. A short while later, I joined the Boston Salesforce Saturday group as a way to learn, connect with others, and to grow professionally. It was so inspirational and so uplifting, I decided I wanted to create a community group one day. About a year and a half ago, I figured out how to do that, and I'm so excited to share it with you today. Over to you, Chef Jade.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jade, and I'm a lead demo architect at Salesforce. For the visually impaired, I'm an Asian female, and my pronouns are she, her. In my previous life, I did not live on the aircraft carrier like David. However, I did join the Army, funny enough, for the money. So what am I doing here on this stage? Why am I standing next to Super David Nava, Golden Hoodie winner? Wow, that's a long story for another day. The short version is, after joining my first Trailblazer community group, I met David. And today I'm here because of that connection. Through that group and a couple others, I was able to grow exponentially, both personally and professionally, with the support of that community. So today we're here because I created a Trailblazer community this year. We're going to share the recipe on how we did that. So that's why we're all here. We are going to share a recipe on how you can create your own Trailblazer community today. We don't expect to make any forward cooking statements. Please don't make any purchasing decisions based on any recipes we're going to share today. We have a jam-packed menu for you today. We'll start by briefly chatting about Trailblazer communities. From there, we'll talk about the growing need for more community groups and why you're the perfect person to start one today. But first, you have to figure out what's your jam. Next, we're going to share what happens if you run into any barriers, followed by recipes for getting started, a proven process in creating your community group. Finally, we're going to share steps on how you can launch your own community, and we're going to end with some secret ingredients, a pinch of inspiration and a pound of gratitude. So let's get cooking.
Man, that's why we're wearing the aprons and the hats, am I right?
Well, David, you're not wrong. Not only are we chefs today, but we're also trailblazers. Trailblazers and chefs share the same qualities. A chef will create new recipes, share their recipes, and bring you into their kitchens. A trailblazer is an innovator, lifelong learner, and they're always cooking up something new. So let's explore the possibilities and explore your jam. Just like restaurants that cater to different tastes and cuisines, there are many types of Trailblazer communities out there, no matter how picky an eater you are. There are 17 million Trailblazers, 1,300 community groups, and in 90 countries and counting. Some groups meet locally, so there's a group in every major city. Some groups meet virtually, and some communities are hybrid, meeting both in person and virtually. Many groups have a specific focus and purpose. Some are for admins, developers, architects, women in tech, nonprofit, military veterans, and military spouses. But what's most impactful to you? What's your jam? With so many Trailblazer communities out there, as you saw in the map previously, you might be thinking, should I really be creating another community group? Spoiler alert, the answer is yes. There's more than enough room for you. We need more community groups out there more than ever. And guess what? You're all qualified to lead these groups. Oh, Shitake. What happens if you run into any barriers? Well, if you're willing to take a risk, you can overcome those barriers.
Now we're cooking. So, what qualifications do you need to get cooking? Here's the thing. It's not about the number of certifications you have, how long you've been in the ecosystem, or the size of your social media following that determines if you'd be a great community group leader. It's what drives you. It's your passion, your purpose, and your principles that determine your potential. So, if you're a continuous learner, passionate about helping others learn and grow, if you're excited to help others during their journey and create an environment where mentorship can flourish, if you're comfortable being uncomfortable, you're okay with vulnerability, and you see mistakes as a natural part of learning and not as failures, then your heart and your head are in the right place. That is literally all it takes to be a great community group leader. And if you're nervous going it alone, don't be. Bring another Trailblazer along with you for the ride. Numerous groups have co-leads, which splits up the work, and it provides a measure of redundancy for when life tosses you a schedule curveball. Now, to borrow practice from my community group, which is Military Trailblazer Career and Branding Office Hours, I recently began onboarding guest hosts who can take over for me if I have a schedule conflict. Not only does it take some of the weight off my shoulders, it enables so much more. It lets those Trailblazers lead sessions, which of course grows their public speaking skills. It adds much needed diversity of thought and experience to sessions, which increases audience engagement, and it drives innovation because each different guest host approaches leading their session in a slightly different way, injecting their unique style into the equation. So, why doesn't everyone start their own community group? While you don't have to be a Salesforce MVP to get started, it does require a little bit of courage. These are some of the barriers that stood in our way when we were getting started. The important thing to remember is to ignore those nagging doubts when they begin to crop up in the back of your mind. Absolutely everyone experiences imposter syndrome at some point in their careers. The key is to push past it. Also, fear of failure. How do you push past that, right? Well, you just keep going, and you realize that you're going to make mistakes along the way, and you rely on your community to help you through them. And then finally, procrastination. It's incredibly sneaky, right? It's very tempting to put off launching your community group for another day, another week. All the reasons begin to sound good in the back of your mind. At times like this, remember, perfection is the enemy of good enough. The point here is not to host the perfect event. It's to get your community group meetings off the ground in the first place. If just one other person attends and they learn something, that is a successful meeting that you can build upon. Now, if you're still hungry for more best practices on how to push past these barriers, stay tuned. We'll be serving that up shortly. It's a fact, Trailblazers are problem solvers. We are. And process is our greatest tool for creating the conditions that are necessary for success. In the slides that follow, Chef Jade and I will walk you step by step through the recipe that we both use to create our community groups. When we're finished, you'll have all the ingredients that you need to get started. Now, whether you decide to create a geographic group in your local area, a functional group, say for system admins and developers, or an affinity group, your first step is finding a support gap where you can add value. Now, in order to know what's missing, you have to know what's there. So head over to Trailhead and check out the existing community groups. And then when you're ready to continue your research, perform a taste test by attending a few sessions. You'll know you've found your jam when you've identified an unmet need in the ecosystem that you are passionate about supporting. Next, determine your target audience. Essentially, who you'll be cooking for. Who needs this support, and do they know they need it? If not, you'll need to convey that message to them with your social media marketing plan, which we'll talk about here in a moment. Another fact, in order to be successful, your group kind of needs members. So you want to pick a support gap that is far-reaching to solve. If you pick a small niche one that few people experience, you're going to struggle to grow your membership base. And then finally, create your value proposition. Your value proposition should clearly state your support gap, as well as the resources that your community group meetings will provide to fill that gap. Now, let me put it all in the context and provide you with an example from my community group, which once again is Military Trailblazer Career and Branding Office Hours. Here's where I found I could add a bunch of value. As we all know, or as we're experiencing through the magic of Dreamforce, it can be incredibly difficult to figure out what roles you'd be a good fit for. There's tons of roles out there. You have badges, super badge sets, professional certifications, professional accreditations, and they're adding new ones every day. My group invites a different Salesforce professional each and every week to explore their career path. They talk about the challenges, the team dynamic, what they love about the job, how they got there, what the pipeline's like, the interview process, basically everything. And Trailblazers can ask them questions. That way they can sample a different career path each and every week, which ultimately informs their decision on which role is the best fit for them. So now we know how to find your jam, who you'll be cooking for, and how to tantalize their taste buds with your tasty value proposition. It is time to move on to creating our framework. When building your framework, you want to be incredibly flexible with your process. This is probably going to change numerous times based upon the needs of your community, as well as other unforeseen variables. Now, for the purposes of this presentation, we'll assume you're building a virtual community, like me and Jade. Step one is choosing your tools. Select a virtual meeting tool that you're comfortable with. Learn how to share your screen, meet participants, record the session, all the basic capabilities, because you don't want to struggle with those during your first session. Then, select a virtual collaboration tool with document creation and sharing properties. Google Drive, OneDrive, Notion, or other virtual collaboration suites have these features. You're going to use that to share your process documents with your team and to create them as well. Things like scripts for your sessions, spreadsheets for your scheduling and programming, templates for your social media communications. Later, when and if you decide to take on volunteers or sous chefs, it'll be much easier to share those documents with your extended team. Next, set aside time each and every day and block it off in your calendar so it's preserved to prepare for your sessions. By establishing a daily planning rhythm, you'll ensure that you're well prepared for each and every session, and it helps with standardizing your process. And then finally, it is always a good idea to prepare for when things don't go according to plan. What happens if your guest host doesn't show up, your microphone doesn't work, or you can't even connect to the internet because you have no connectivity? All these things have happened to me at some point during my session, sometimes more than one at the same session. And true story, I actually gave one session in a maintenance closet during the sales conference. The point is to set aside time to run through these what-if scenarios, and you'll ensure that you're well prepared for when they actually do happen. Hey, Chef Jade.
Yes, Chef David.
Can you share with us your framework? What is your secret sauce?
Well, normally I only share my secret sauce with the closest of friends. But because all of my close friends are at Dreamforce, I will share. With my community, which is also virtual, I use the free Google suite of tools. I use Google Slides for my presentations every week, saved on Google Drive, and I use Google Meet to run all my meetings. I also use Calendly, so my co-hosts can sign up and help in future sessions. And I use Notion to plan and organize my topics. Lastly, I use LinkedIn and Twitter for my social media posts. As far as having a process and planning rhythm, my sessions are usually on Mondays, and I have a different topic every week. So I use the weekends to plan and prep. Using Google Slides, I have a reusable template, and every week my content is pretty much plug and play. Notion is the brains of my operation, and I refer to it constantly. It has my dates, my sessions, my list of topics, and my co-presenters, as well as reminders. I refer to it constantly, and I continuously check in and make sure that I'm surfacing the most important topics to the community. And the last piece is social media posts. I post my sessions on LinkedIn and Twitter that are upcoming, also a recap of those sessions and a group picture. And as David alluded to earlier, you have to plan for the unexpected because it pretty much will happen. I haven't had the maintenance closet scenario yet, but maybe that's coming too. For my sessions, I have my AirPods with me. I also have a backup set of earbuds that I plug into my laptop. And speaking of laptop, I have a backup laptop as well, and a co-pilot on standby in case something were to happen. So this is the framework that I use for my community, and I try to make it repeatable and reproducible. So here are examples of my posts on LinkedIn and Twitter. If no one knows about your sessions, they can't attend. So I try to make it a regular habit to post a couple times each week.
That is indeed a tasty secret sauce, Jade. Thanks so much for sharing. All right. Remember those barriers we were talking about earlier? Get ready to smash through them with this delicious list of best practices. This is a curated list of best practices to help you launch your community groups and achieve spectacular results. Forcing functions are what they sound like. They force us to be accountable to our goals by creating a publicly shared task, activity, or event. For example, schedule your community launch date on your calendar and then share that news with your social media network on LinkedIn and or Twitter. By committing to specific dates publicly, we make it much more likely we will not back out when we reach that milestone. As Jade mentioned, people can't attend your sessions if they don't know about them. So you're going to want to advertise to the Trailblazer community. That's where that social media marketing plan comes into play that we were talking about earlier. To Jade's point, we recommend getting started with LinkedIn and Twitter. That's where most of your community members are going to be, and posting several times per week. And me specifically, my sessions are actually tonight, Wednesday. So I'll get started on Monday. I'll post my value proposition, essentially talking about the co-host that's going to be there, the topics, all the value that my members are going to get by attending that session. On the day of the event, my team puts out a reminder so everyone remembers to attend. And then the day after, my team will share a gratitude message, including a picture from the event, as well as thanking everyone for attending. When my volunteer team posts, we always use vibrant language. We sprinkle some emojis in for added fun, and we make sure we use a picture at all times because pictures increase the number of views you're going to get for your post. Now, everyone is nervous about failing. I'm nervous about failing right now. And that's where practice comes in through dry runs. So, schedule a virtual meeting with a friend or colleague and run through all your content. Share your screen, run through your script, record the session, and when you experience a rough patch or make a mistake, take notes. Later, you can come back to your notes and improve upon your content so you don't make those same mistakes when you actually run your live session. And finally, we have saved the best practice for last. What's a better way to get over imposter syndrome than by creating your own support team? Your brain trust is a trusted team of friends and or colleagues that you put together to leverage diversity of thought and experience for when you need to brainstorm and or innovate. Essentially, whenever you need advice. A couple tips here. You want to make sure you select people that think differently than you do. If you have a bunch of like-minded thinkers, it's going to be harder to innovate than if you had diverse perspectives represented on your team. And second, you want to consider the size of your team. We find that generally 4 to 6 people works best. Any less than 4, and you risk losing the optimum influx of new ideas. Any more than 6, and it becomes difficult making use of all that information. Each and every session is an opportunity for you to learn and improve your recipe. So, conduct surveys and ask for direct feedback. Then use that information to improve your next session. If something didn't work from a previous meeting, throw it out, try a new ingredient in the next one. We hope this list of best practices will be helpful to you when you launch your community groups. And if you should discover any other during your culinary journey, please feel free to share those with us on social media. We would love to continue the conversation. Back to you, Chef Jade.
Thank you, Chef David. Thank you for sharing the steps on launching your community. Look, you don't have to have it all figured out. I'm still tweaking my marketing strategy. I'm still trying to build my brain trust. The key here is to start. You will need to tweak your strategy over time. A pinch of this and a dash of that. It's a learning journey full of sweet rewards. So find your jam and express them yourself. Speaking of which, we would always love to chat over coffee. Please connect with us on LinkedIn and Twitter. The QR code gives you both links on social, or connect with us immediately after the session.
Yeah, we'd always love to chat. And if you want to attend our sessions live, the QR code in the middle will let you register for them on Mondays, Wednesdays, or tonight, or Fridays and tonight. We'd love to see you there. And in case you didn't have enough QR codes, we'll give you an opportunity to snap a picture of this one. We would love to get your feedback on how to improve our content. This will take you to the Salesforce Events mobile app where you can conduct a survey to help us improve what we've been doing here today. So we appreciate it in advance. And then finally, thank you so much for attending Dreamforce 2022 with us and for putting up with us. We hope you enjoyed our recipe for how to build a Trailblazer Community Group from scratch with a pinch of inspiration and a pound of gratitude.
And with that, we also want to add a pinch of kindness, a spoonful of laughter, and a heap of love. We hope that we've inspired you to create your own Trailblazer community from scratch. And we'll leave you with one last QR code for resources on getting started. We hope to see you all in the Trailblazer community. Thank you.
Thank you.